Imagine a machine that has gone to war over 100 times and never lost once. It can climb vertically like a rocket, fly at 2.5 times the speed of sound, and see the enemy before they even take off. This is the F-15 Eagle. Born from the humiliation of Vietnam, it became the undisputed sovereign of the sky. Today, we're looking at the jet that redefined air superiority and why, after 50 years, its combat record still stands at a perfect 104 victories and 0 defeats. The origin of the F-15 Eagle was born from the blood and fire of the Vietnam War. During the 1960s, the U.S. Air Force was struggling against nimble Soviet MiGs, realizing their heavy F-4 Phantoms were over-engineered and under-equipped for dogfighting. The fighter Mafia, a rebel group of engineers and pilots led by John Boyd, demanded a new kind of machine. They wanted a jet that wasn't a jack-of-all-trades, but a dedicated air superiority fighter. Their mantra was simple: not a pound for air-to-ground. This radical focus led to the creation of the F-15, a massive, twin-engine Predator designed for one thing only: to own the sky and destroy anything that dared to fly in it. Engineering the F-15 was a masterclass in power-to-weight ratio. To achieve the required performance, McDonnell Douglas fitted the Eagle with 2 massive Pratt & Whitney F-100 engines, producing nearly 48,000 pounds of thrust. This gave the F-15 a thrust-to-weight ratio of greater than 1:1, meaning it was the first fighter in history that could accelerate while climbing straight up like a space shuttle. It was a 40-ton Titan that handled like a lightweight aerobatic plane. This raw, vertical power ensured that an F-15 pilot could always dictate the terms of a fight, choosing when to strike and when to disappear into the clouds at Mach 2.5. The eyes of the Eagle were just as revolutionary as its engines. The F-15 was designed around the massive APG-63 pulse-Doppler radar, which allowed the pilot to look down and shoot down targets against the clutter of the Earth's surface, a capability that was science fiction at the time. Combined with a heads-up display and a spacious bubble canopy, the F-15 gave its pilot a level of situational awareness that was decades ahead of its Soviet rivals. It turned the cockpit into a high-tech command center, where the pilot could track multiple targets and engage them with AIM-7 Sparrow or AIM-9 Sidewinder missiles before the enemy even realized they were being hunted. Aerodynamically, the F-15 featured a massive wing area that provided incredible lift and maneuverability at all altitudes. The wings were so large and robust that they practically made the jet a lifting body. This engineering strength led to one of the most incredible incidents in aviation history. In 1983, an Israeli F-15 pilot managed to land his jet after losing an entire wing in a mid-air collision. The F-15's massive engines and the lift generated by its fuselage were enough to keep the one-winged Eagle in the air. This legendary feat proved that the F-15 was not just a high-performance jet, but a rugged survivor built with a level of structural integrity that defied physics. Unlike its predecessors, the F-15 was designed with an internal M61 Vulcan 20mm cannon as a standard feature. The Air Force had learned the hard way in Vietnam that missiles can fail, but a gun never jams when you need it most. The F-15 was the ultimate energy fighter, capable of pulling 9 G-turns and maintaining its speed while chasing an enemy through the most violent maneuvers. It was a machine built for the knife fight, a predator that was just as lethal at point-blank range as it was from 50 miles away. It represented the peak of the pure fighter philosophy, a machine that commanded respect through its absolute dominance of every combat envelope. When the F-15 officially entered service in 1976, it was the most expensive and advanced fighter in the world. It was a high-stakes gamble on American technological superiority, a machine intended to scare the Soviet Union back to the drawing board. It succeeded instantly. The Soviets were so terrified of the Eagle's performance that they began a frantic, decade-long project to build their own response, which eventually became the Su-27. But by then, the Eagle had already established its legend. It was the gold standard of the sky, a machine of fire and titanium that was about to embark on a 50-year career without ever suffering a single loss in air-to-air combat. The true baptism of fire for the F-15 didn't come from the U.S. Air Force, but from the Israeli Air Force, which took the Eagle and turned it into a legend of the Middle East. In 1981, Israeli F-15s provided the high-altitude cover for the daring raid on Iraq's Osirak nuclear reactor. While the F-16s dropped the bombs, the F-15s sat above, watching the entire region with their powerful radars and ready to obliterate any Iraqi MiGs that tried to intervene. It was a display of strategic air cover that proved the F-15 was the ultimate guardian of any mission. In the years that followed, Israeli pilots would rack up a staggering kill ratio, downing over 50 Syrian MiGs without losing a single Eagle. During the 1982 Lebanon War, the F-15 solidified its reputation as the king of the dogfight. In the massive air battles over the Bekaa Valley, Israeli F-15s faced off against the best Soviet-made Syrian jets. The result was a total massacre. The F-15's superior radar and long-range missiles allowed them to pick off the Syrians before they could even get within firing range. The Eagle was so dominant that Syrian pilots began to break formation and flee the moment they detected an F-15's radar lock. It was a psychological victory as much as a physical one, proving that the American king of the sky had no equal in a real war. When the United States went to war in 1991 during Operation Desert Storm, the F-15 Eagle was the undisputed star of the air campaign. In the opening hours of the war, F-15CS swept the Iraqi Air Force from the sky, accounting for 36 of the 40 confirmed air-to-air kills. They hunted Iraqi MiGs through the darkness and the smoke of burning oil wells, using their superior sensors to maintain absolute control over the battlefield. The Iraqi pilots, many of whom were veterans of the war with Iran, found themselves completely helpless against a machine that could see them from 80 miles away and strike with surgical precision. Desert Storm also saw the combat debut of the F-15E Strike Eagle, a radical evolution of the original design. Breaking the old, not a pound for air-to-ground rule, the Strike Eagle was a dual-role monster capable of carrying 23,000 pounds of bombs while still maintaining its air superiority teeth. During the Scud hunts in the Iraqi desert, the Strike Eagles used their high-resolution lantern pods to find and destroy mobile missile launchers at night. It was a 24/7 war machine, a flying tank that could fight its way to a target, drop a laser-guided bomb through a chimney, and then dogfight its way back home. One of the most legendary stories from the Gulf War involved an F-15E Strike Eagle bombing an Iraqi Mi-24 helicopter in midair. After spotting the helicopter moving at low altitude, the F-15 crew realized they couldn't get a missile lock due to the ground clutter. Instead, they dropped a 2,000-pound laser-guided bomb directly onto the helicopter while it was flying. The result was an instant fireball and a legendary kill that proved the Strike Eagle was a master of the unexpected. It was a display of creativity and technical power that only the F-15 platform could provide, turning a heavy bomber into a mid-air sniper. By the end of the 20th century, the F-15 had become the most successful fighter in history. It had outlived the Cold War and proven its worth in every corner of the globe. It was the big stick of American air power, a machine that guaranteed that whenever U.S. forces went into battle, the sky above them was safe. The F-15 had achieved a level of dominance that was practically a strategic deterrent. Many nations refused to even try and challenge the Eagle in the air. But as the 21st century arrived, the king was about to undergo a digital metamorphosis that would keep it on the throne for another 50 years. As the world moved into the era of stealth and fifth-generation fighters like the F-22 and F-35, many predicted that the F-15's time had finally passed. But they underestimated the incredible growth potential of the Eagle's massive airframe. The F-15 has undergone a digital rebirth, evolving into the F-15EX Eagle II, the most heavily armed and technologically advanced version of the jet ever built. Today's Eagle is packed with an APG-82 AESA radar, a supercomputer capable of performing 87 billion operations per second, and the world's most advanced electronic warfare system. It is no longer just a fighter, it is a flying sensor node that can coordinate an entire air war from the edge of space. The most striking feature of the new F-15EX is its incredible weapon capacity. While stealth jets have to hide their missiles inside internal bays to stay invisible, the F-15EX embraces its role as a missile truck. It can carry up to 22 air-to-air missiles, more than any other fighter in the world. The U.S. Air Force's new strategy uses the stealthy F-35s to find the enemy and the F-15EX to destroy them with a massive barrage of long-range fire. This high-low combination ensures that the Eagle remains the primary executioner of the sky, a machine that provides the raw firepower that stealth jets simply cannot carry. The F-15EX also features a digital backbone that allows it to be upgraded with new software in a matter of weeks rather than years. This open mission systems architecture ensures that the Eagle can adapt to any new threat, from hypersonic missiles to advanced AI-controlled drones. It also features a completely glass cockpit with massive touchscreen displays, giving the pilot a god-eye view of the entire theater of war. The King has traded its analog gauges for a digital crown, turning a 50-year-old design into a 21st-century warrior that can see through enemy jamming and strike with surgical precision in any weather. Protection for the modern Eagle has evolved from brute speed to invisible shields. The APOS electronic warfare suite allows the F-15EX to jam enemy radars and spoof incoming missiles, making the jet much harder to target even without traditional stealth shaping. It also features infrared search and track (IRST) sensors that can find enemy stealth jets by their heat signatures alone, negating the primary advantage of the latest Russian and Chinese designs. The Eagle is now a hunter of hunters, a machine that uses the electromagnetic spectrum as its primary shield and its primary weapon. The longevity of the F-15 is also a result of its incredible airframe life. Modern F-15EX jets are built to fly for over 20,000 hours, nearly triple the life of a standard fighter. This makes the Eagle the most cost-effective air superiority platform in history. While the F-35 is expensive to fly and maintain, the Eagle is a proven workhorse that can stay in the air for decades. This industrial endurance is why nations like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Japan continue to invest billions in their Eagle fleets. The F-15 is the standard-bearer of global air power, a machine that has become a permanent fixture of the sky. In the final analysis, the F-15's modern evolution is a story of ultimate industrial success. It proved that a great design doesn't need to be replaced, it just needs to be improved. The F-15EX is a bridge between the era of dogfighting and the age of AI and long-range missile wars. It remains the only aircraft that can carry the heaviest hypersonic weapons and provide the massive alpha strike needed to win a modern conflict. The King is not retiring, it is preparing for its next 50 years of dominance, a machine of fire and light that remains the undisputed sovereign of the clouds. The final analysis of the F-15 Eagle is a story of a perfect weapon. It is the only aircraft in history that can claim over 100 kills without a single loss. This 104-0 record is not just a statistic, it is a psychological weapon that humbles every pilot who has ever tried to challenge an Eagle in the air. The F-15 established the blueprint for what an air superiority fighter should be, a machine that balances speed, power, and sensors in a package that is practically unbeatable. It is the grandfather of the modern sky, a machine that redefined the very nature of what it means to own the air. The influence of the F-15 can be seen in every modern fighter designed today, from the Su-27 to the latest Chinese J-20. They all follow the Eagle model, twin engines, a large wing area, and a massive radar nose. The F-15 taught the world that air-to-air combat is won by the pilot who can see the furthest and fly the highest. It moved the world away from the cheap and light philosophy of the early Cold War toward the high-tech, multi-role reality of today. It was the pioneer of the energy maneuverability age, a machine that proved that in the sky, raw power is the ultimate virtue. Today, the F-15 remains the most sought-after asset for any nation looking for true air superiority. Its role has expanded from a pure fighter to a mothership for drones and a launch platform for space-based weapons. In 1985, an F-15 even proved it could destroy a satellite in orbit, firing an ASAT missile while climbing at Mach 1.2. This reaching for the stars capability showed that the Eagle's airframe was limited only by the imagination of its engineers. It is a machine of the future, built in the past and fighting in the present. The cultural legacy of the F-15 is also immense. It is the star of countless documentaries, books, and movies, often as the symbol of American military invincibility. For the generations of pilots who have flown the Viper's big brother, the F-15 is more than just a jet, it is a sacred trust. It is a machine that rewards aggression and precision, a jet that makes the pilot feel like they are part of an elite, unbeatable brotherhood. The Eagle Driver is a title that commands respect in every air force in the world, a reflection of the machine's own legendary status. Standing next to an F-15 Eagle today, you are struck by its sheer size. It is massive, nearly as long as a World War II bomber but with the sharp, predatory lines of a shark. It radiates an aura of absolute dominance. It doesn't need stealth to be scary, it just needs to exist. From the revenge of the fighter Mafia in the 1970s to the digital sovereign of today, the F-15 has remained the ultimate tool of American air power. It is the machine that ensures that the sky above any conflict is an American sky, a jet that has turned the 104-0 record into a permanent law of nature. In the final analysis, the F-15 Eagle is a magnificent success of the human spirit and industrial power. It was a machine built to be the best, and it surpassed even its creator's wildest dreams. It outlasted its enemies, outfought its rivals, and outlived the era it was born into. The Eagle remains the undefeated king, the sovereign of the sky, and the machine that defined air superiority for all time. As the F-15 continues its watch over the world, its legend only grows. The roar of the F-100 engines is the sound of the modern era, and the Eagle is the machine that writes its history in the clouds.